Hello, today we start talking on cancer, the second chapter after the allergies. And as you might know that our procedure is based on three principles. That the first one is about the causes of the disease, the second one is about how to reverse the disease, and the third one is about the side effects of the procedure used for reversing the disease, even modern or traditional. And you know that there are many causes of cancer. So we can split them in two groups. That the first one is about the environmental factors, or we call them also the extrinsic factors, and the intrinsic factors, or factors that are directly related to the body, including foods and cosmetics and a lot of materials that can come in contact with the body, and that can cause cancer. So the environmental factors, so that there are many of them, many environmental factors that are too much factors, and it will depend on the country. It will depend also on the area you are living, and also in the street. And so it may depend on the size of the town you are living in. So you know that many big towns are more polluted, and people are breathing contaminated air and atmosphere by some dioxin and by the car exhaust gas, which is some sulfide compounds and also some heavy metals that freed by the cars and also by the traffic in general. But some plants or some factories also are releasing a lot of chemical compounds that might pollute the atmosphere, and that also might contaminate and pollute the air. And that people should check all the things surrounding the house and surrounding the place where they are living. It's very important. And there are many other factors, also environmental factors, which are related to the farming, to the agriculture and the production of crops. You know that in agriculture now, fertilizers, some chemical fertilizers like nitrate and sulfate, and also some pesticides are used, and too much heavy use now of pesticides in crops and in agriculture. And these pesticides also, we can find them as insecticides inside the house when killing flies or killing some insects, and so that you are using some hazardous compounds that can be also the cause of cancer. And you know that pesticides are used in farming, but are used also inside houses to kill some insects. And these environmental factors now are confirmed that are cause of cancer. So nitrate and sulfate are some contaminants of soil, of water, and also of the air. They are contaminants also of some crops like vegetables and fruits, and also some grains and beans and green leaves. And so all the crops and all the materials now produced by agriculture now is being contaminated by these pesticides, and also it can be contaminated also by the fertilizing materials, fertilizers like nitrate and sulfate. Anyway, that these factors can be controlled, and I know that there is a regulation that's limiting the use of these fertilizers and also the pesticides, but it may depend on the country you are living in. And I know that in some Asian countries like in China, in India, the use of fertilizers and also the use of pesticides are being the heavy use. The huge amounts now of these pesticides are being used in crops. But in other countries like the American countries and also the European countries, that the use of pesticides is very controlled and monitored, and so some analysis and some determinations in laboratory for all the crops. And so before selling them and before they go to the markets, they should get the checking of fertilizer and also like nitrate in water and in many other crops. So anyway, that people should pay attention to these things, and they should at least wash too much the vegetables and fruits. And if they can peel these vegetables, that it should be better, that we can remove more than 70 to 80% of the residues, which the tiny amounts of pesticides that can exist in these materials. So the plastic materials also are being contaminants, a heavy contaminant of the atmosphere and the air, that when burning these plastic, you know that some dioxin and some toxic gases and hazardous gases, very dangerous, that may cause allergies, and to some extent they can cause also the cancer, because dioxin are involved in cancer, as it's a cause of, it's among the causes of cancer. some cleaning materials and also some paints, so painting materials in the house and use it in many items. And now people working in some factories, employees and workers in many factories that involved in the chemical industry and also in some dangerous materials like the battery industry, like the metal industry, like the painting materials also industry, and some food industry also. They can use some chemicals. And people working in also in some hairdressing shops and many other places that can be contaminated. But people also, some employees and workers, they should check, they should make a blood determination every 6 months, and they have to check if they get a cancer, because there are many industries which are dangerous for the employees and workers, like the glass industry, the plastic industry, and also some metal industry and chemical industry, like some solvents and some chemical materials are being now made by some, even some materials like some electromagnetic materials also, they may free and they may also contaminate it, and also they have some dangerous materials like painting materials and all sorts of chemicals used in this industry. Even dentistry, dentistry also, dentistry also, that people now working in some clinics for dentistry, they are using some dangerous compounds and some chemicals. They are working with some hazardous chemicals. They should pay attention, and also doctors and physicians inside the hospitals, nursing and staff and nurses and doctors that inside the hospital also, they can use some dangerous gases or some dangerous products that can be used, and so the imagery when making an RMI or scanner or Doppler, or they should pay attention to the radiation of these materials. They can be contaminated, and they are also involved in as a cause of cancer. So, and many things, even radiation also, that people working in some plants or factories that we are getting in contact with the radiation, they should have they had a check every 6 months to see if they can get a cancer or not. But the checking every 6 months is now, so it's not optional, but it's mandatory for all the industries throughout the world. The checking for workers and employees every 6 months, they have to check if they have a problem or not. So that's because there are many hazardous that compounds or chemical compounds in the industry and in some factories now are making are producing, and not only polluting the atmosphere and the air, but also the workers and the people that are working inside these factories can get contaminated and can get some health problems. And a lot of people now are getting sick and are getting sick because of the compounds and because of the chemicals they breathe inside these factories and these plants. Inside your house, you have to check with your cleaning materials and with cleaning or soap, sanitation and cleaning in your house, and even the bleach that you are using in washing machine for clothes, and so that you should not touch it and you should not breathe it. That's because there are many materials that use it just to put this material inside your machine, but not with your hand. That puts some. You have to protect your hands and also with a mask to protect your nose for not breathing these odors and these dangerous chemicals which can be freed by this material inside your side. But you have to check all the environmental factors around you, inside your house, in the building, in the street, in the area you are living, and also in work, the place you are working, or the nature of your work, what kind of work and what you're doing in work. And so don't get in contact with some dangerous or some hazardous chemicals that can induce, and they can also lead to a health problem or to a cancer. And this factor is just an idea, to give an idea to people. They have to check everything around them, and even the clothes you are wearing, that some synthetic clothes can be a problem. That is it in cotton 100% or 50% cotton on 100% chemical synthetic, and so this is a problem even for babies and for old people. And the radiation, so the others and some gases and some toxic compounds that free in the atmosphere, and some materials, some chemicals that can come from crops with foods and with vegetables and so on. They are contaminated with many chemical compounds, and also things in your work, thing you are working with, we are working in, and so the place where we are living. That because that you can get contaminated by the atmosphere or by the pollution of the air. So So we hope that people can have an idea about these environmental factors that because very important, and we can reduce the cancer cases inshallah. So until another episode, see you. Assalamu alaikum.